Hi everybody. In this video, I would like to go over some of the main points from Roger Scruton's The Problem of Architecture. So I'm going to share the screen with you. Now, Roger Scruton, born in 1944, conservative English philosopher, writer, and composer, author of over 30 books. Scruton maintains that architecture is certainly a craft. The utility of a building defines the architect's endeavor. It makes no sense to maintain the distinction between art and craft that Collingwood wants to make. Architecture is a synthesis of the two, not just a mixture. For Collingwood, expression was the primary aim of art, precisely because there could be no craft of expression. There could be no rule or procedure. Expression, therefore, cannot be defined prior to its achievement. Clearly, it would be a gross distortion to assume that architecture is an expressive medium in the same way that sculpture is. The value of a building cannot be understood independently of its utility. It is possible to regard a building sculpturally, but that would be treating buildings as forms whose aesthetic nature is conjoined only accidentally with its function. The sculptural view of architecture involves a mistaken idea, according to Scruton, that the beauty of a thing can be judged without knowing what kind of thing it is. Rather, our sense of the beauty of an object is always dependent on a conception of that object. So by conception of that object, in other words, our sense of beauty of a chair, for instance, is dependent on our conception of what chairs are. Functionalism can be seen as an attempt to reassert architectural against sculptural values. Form follows function. A further distinguishing feature is its highly localized quality. Buildings constitute important features of their own environment. They cannot be reproduced at will without absurd and disastrous consequences. We often feel a certain hostility towards the attempt to translate buildings from one part of the world to another. We expect the architect to build in accordance with a sense of place, and not to design a building so that it could be placed just anywhere. A further feature of architecture is technique. What is possible in architecture is determined by the extent of human determined by the extent of human competence, right? What is possible in architecture is determined by the extent of human competence. Changes are initiated quite independently of artistic consciousness. For instance, in music, literature, and painting, evolution has followed a changing attitude to art. In other words, art has evolved and followed a different, or at least a changing over time, attitude to art. Changes in art tend to be a product of engineering skill, not a spirit of the age. One more distinguishing feature, public object. Poetry and music have become self-consciously modern because they have been able to create audiences. A work of architecture imposes itself, come what may, which is different than the way poetry and music creates audiences. The architect may change public taste, but only by addressing herself to the whole public. Perhaps the most important feature of architecture is its continuity with the decorative arts. Architecture is first and foremost a process of arrangement. It does not normally aim at meanings, nor does it present itself self-consciously as art. It is a natural extension of human activities. With architecture, one has moved away from the realm of high art toward that of common practical wisdom. I hope this video has helped you understand this interesting reading in philosophy of art and aesthetics. Thank you for your time and attention. Bye-bye.